Hello and welcome back to the S&S Football Podcast. We are back again. We've had a little bit of a break after sort of the January transfer period. As you are probably aware, we did a hefty few live streams. We were going daily for a little bit, then we went kind of every other day, but then, towards the end, we, did it a bit here and there, but the last one on deadline day was a big show. So if you haven't seen it, please do go and see it on the channel. All the other live streams throughout the January transfer window are on there. So please make sure you go and give them a watch, because there are some absolutely cracking episodes in there with all the news, all the opinions of different football fans, not just me and Morgan. So yeah, go and give them all a watch. Like I said, just to start, if you are watching and you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Come on, subscribe to the channel, hit the red button. It's free. Just do it. All right. It means a lot. And we are still on the road. 50 subs. We're almost there. Just over halfway there. So yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it if you want, and follow the Twitter, because we will be posting football news on there. Transfer news was going on there every day in January. But with that gone now, we'll go back to sort of normal football news. And the reason a little bit for our break is because somebody unfortunately fell a little bit unwell. I'll add him into the stream now because he is now feeling a bit better. But Morgan, mate, firstly, how are you feeling?
For those of you that aren't aware, I unfortunately got coronavirus, and to be honest with you, I'm all right now. I still feel quite fatigued. It's been my isolation period's over now. Went out yesterday for the first time. Haven't really tried exercising yet, because even like doing a walk yesterday, I still felt quite bad with the old respiratory system. But no, I just want to stress, guys, just stay safe out there, because it's not a nice thing to get, and I didn't realise how bad it was until I got it. I'm not going to say that I was bad for the whole time, but for 3 or 4 days especially, I could barely move, and that's no exaggeration. So yeah, not a nice thing to get, but on the mend now, and coming out of isolation, hopefully that's the last of that, because it's not a nice thing to get.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, the message is clear, make sure you do stay safe, and, you are keeping your loved ones safe, all your friends safe, wearing masks in public as well, because like Morgan said, it's not nice to get. And we're just glad you're feeling a little bit better, because I know you're a little bit, down for a few days, but I'm just glad to know that you are feeling a bit better. Before we crack on with sort of all the football news and stuff like that, we're in a new setup sort of now in terms of the game week reviews. Previously, we, recorded them off of a live. We didn't do a live stream. We just recorded them and then edited them and put them up. But we've gone with this new setup because we feel that we can let the audience have a little bit more of a say in what they want us to talk about, because we ramble on about all the results, all the news, and don't really get too many other topics in. So this is why we are now doing live streams for game week reviews. We will, because this is allowing you guys as the audience to put in little bits and topics, any bit of football news that you want us to talk about. So please, if you do have any, put in the comments. We will get onto it, and we will probably discuss it in a bit of depth, because we both love talking. So yeah, please do that. List it in the comments. Morgan, before we go on about the recent results, fixtures coming up like we always do, obviously transfer window has been gone now for 20 odd days. We look at Villa, one new signing in terms of Morgan Sanson. I don't think we've really seen too much of him yet. What's your thoughts on him at the minute as a Villa player? I don't think he's had a lot of opportunity to impress, but have you seen any glimpses of him which looks good for the future?
I've seen a few brief stints. He's made, I think, 2 or 3 now substitute appearances. He looks bright. He looks really, really sharp. He's not the biggest of players, but he looks a real technical player. And he came on recently against Leicester yesterday, and he looked really good. Wanted to get on the ball, move the ball really quickly. So he's fully up to speed with the game, which is brilliant. Straight away looking in at a player that could potentially be starting towards the end of the season. But yeah, looks looks a really good player for the future. And I mean, I'd speak about Ross Barkley in due course, but at the moment, it looks as though Sanson's going to be taking his place next season, or relatively soon. So, look, I'm interested to see more of what he can do. I think he needs to start now, but I think we need to find the right game for that.
Definitely. I mean, I did watch the Villa Leicester game, and we will talk about that in a bit. If you are watching, like I mentioned just now, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and comment anything that you want us to talk about over the past week of fixtures, or the fixtures coming up, results have just happened, any football news, list it in the comments. We will talk about it. So please don't be shy. Put something in there, and we will talk about it. But then, so we mentioned Morgan Sanson there, and obviously Ross Barkley. We'll speak about him in a bit. In terms of transfer window, not too many bigger deals happen. Loads of loans, frees, smaller deals. Was there any deal that really stood out to you this window? It may not have been in the Premier League. It could have been worldwide, like we've obviously covered. But was there any one that stood out to you and thought, this player could keep this team up, or this player looks like a good signing for the future? What was the one that stuck out to you out of all the clubs this January?
I think it's from a biased viewpoint, but I think you have to look at what he's now done since the move. But Conor Hourihane to Swansea, I mean, he's been phenomenal for him. I think 4 goals already and 3 assists in such a short space of time. He's almost getting a goal or an assist every game. I think there's only been 1 game that he's actually played that he hasn't got one. But look, I think he's going to get them to the Premier League. I think he was exactly what they needed, a player with championship experience and a seasoned professional in that midfield. And I mean, although they lost to Huddersfield quite heavily, because I am following Swansea at the moment because of Hourihane. Hourihane scored in that game, funnily enough, free kick, trademark him. But they've got 2 games in hand, I believe, on Norwich and Brentford, who are ahead of them, maybe even 3. And if they win them all, they can go top of the Championship. So, look, I think he's going to get Swansea into the Premier League, which you look at the squad that they've got. It doesn't really look too good on the eye, but they've found some gems, to be fair to them. And I think getting Hourihane in has been a fantastic addition for him, and especially if you look at what he's done already.
Definitely, I think Hourihane was a big move to the Championship, because I think like you've mentioned before, he's easily Premier League quality. I think you've said a couple of times that he could easily have come into Villa's midfield and started. And, I think there was a couple of times he did do that and played well. And when Barkley come in, unfortunately, I don't think he got the right chance. But unfortunately, if you look at Barkley now, it's not quite paying off, is it? So Hourihane's a big one. For me, obviously, the main one is Amad Diallo, the youngster from Atlanta. We saw, as United fans, we saw his first glimpses against Sociedad, and I have to say, I know he only played for 10, 15 minutes, maybe less than that, but I thought he looked very sharp. And, there was, I don't know whether you've seen the clip or who has, but the clip of dancing 3 players, I watched that live, and I'm looking at this kid and thinking, I don't think he's got any fear in him. So that's one that I'm definitely really excited for. And hopefully, United's scouting has paid off, because he does look like a real prospect. So yeah, that one for me, Amad Diallo is one, obviously biased, but hey, what do you expect from me at the end of the day? We'll move on from transfers. That's been and gone. We've got a couple comments in. First one from Reese. Oi, oi. Yes. Thanks, mate. You're always tuning in, so appreciate that. And we are back now. Little break, but we are fully back. And then this one leads nicely into the beginning of the live stream. Thoughts on Thomas Tuchel start at Chelsea. And on that note, Morgan, we will talk about the first results. Southampton 1, Chelsea 1. Chelsea Morgan to Villa. Morgan, thoughts on Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea?
I think he's come in and stamped his authority. I like the fact that he's given everyone a chance. I like the fact that Alonso has come into the team and done really well. It's a shame for, obviously, Ben Chilwell to fall out of the team from an England point of view with the Euros coming up. But he's given everyone a fresh slate or a clean slate, shall I say. And to be honest with you, I've been impressed. They've been very, very hard to beat. I think the first thing that he wanted to come in and do was to stop the losses and make Chelsea ridiculously hard to beat. And I think defensively they've been good. I know Rudiger's made a few errors here and there, but I just like how he's given everyone a chance. And you're obviously going to have that new manager bounce. You know, when you're at a top club and you've got world class players like N'Golo Kante and Kovacic and Werner and Pulisic, and you know that's just a few. You know, they've got a team full of world class players. The talent is there. I like as well how he's playing the youngsters still. Mount seems to be at the fulcrum of his plans as well, which is good. I saw Gilmore in the cup as well against Barnsley. But I quite like how Tuchel's a bit no nonsense. I think I said when Lewis was on, Morgan Lewis was on, that Chelsea needed someone to go in there and be firm and be decisive and make decisions that needed to be made. Because I said they've got like a bloated squad. And I think Tuchel is going to be the man to go, look, you're either on board with me or you ain't. And if you don't want to be here, you can go away. Because you look at what he did to Hudson-Odoi in this game specifically, brought him on for 30 minutes, didn't like what he saw, straight back off. So he's a no-nonsense bloke and he's very animated on the side. And I think that's what Chelsea needed, because I think a lot of people said with Lampard that he was a bit of a softie with the players and he didn't really get into them as hard as he could have when they played poorly. Tuchel's no nonsense, and I can see why players don't necessarily like him or he's had fallouts in the past, because the guy's relentless on that side. I mean, his voice must be gone after every bloody game, honestly. But this game specifically, look, Southampton were off the back of 6 straight losses on a horrendous run. Chelsea coming into it, obviously clear favourites, and it was just a game of, look, if Chelsea had took the lead in this game, it would have been 2 or 3-0. Comfortable win. But Southampton got the goal, fair play to them, Minamino. They grew into the game. Chelsea did well to get back into it. Obviously got fortunate with the penalty, I think. It was a clear pen, but a mistake from Danny Ings, which is quite rare. But look, a point's a point. At the end of the day, yes, West Ham have won, but I doubt West Ham are going to stay there. And I back Chelsea to get top 4 under Tuchel. I really do. I really like what I see of him. I think he's come in and just no nonsense, and I think that's what needed to happen.
Yeah, I think the Chelsea-Southampton result was an interesting one because, as you mentioned, the form going into it was a complete contrast, really. Like you said, Southampton hadn't won in a while. Chelsea, new manager bounce, but were doing really well. And then Minamino, of course, another. That was a signing we didn't even cover on the channel. It was that late on in the window. So I guess Minamino, Southampton, I guess that's a good move for him, because I think at Liverpool, as much as no one's really mentioned it, he has flopped a little bit, because I know he was brought in quite cheaply. I think it was 7 million or something for Salzburg, but he hasn't really got going there, has he, to really, provide cover for Firmino or any of the front three to a good standard. So I guess that in a whole is a good move for Southampton and Minamino.
Yeah, definitely. Minamino has been good for Southampton. And look, Liverpool are obviously in their own world, and we'll speak about that. But look, he's getting regular football for Southampton. From a development point of view as well, it must be perfect for Liverpool, because they're now going to see an accurate measurement of what he's capable of every week in the Premier League. And look, if he doesn't perform for Southampton on a consistent basis, then they probably know that he's not really the player that they sign. So at the moment, he's proving that he could quite easily play in a Premier League side. And I think it's quite a clever signing for Liverpool, because like I mentioned on the last stream that we did with Ben Davis, if he doesn't work out at Liverpool, they're going to make profit from him, because if Southampton want him, Liverpool will slap 20-25 million on him. So they'll instantly make almost triple what they paid for him. So even if the move doesn't work out, it's still clever business from Liverpool, which is what I've liked from them in the transfer windows. So look, I think hopefully for Minamino and his development, if he can get regular game time at Southampton, which it seems to be, playing well, he may end up getting a move there in the summer. And it wouldn't even be a bad move for him because I think he suits Southampton pretty well and he's slotted in quite nicely.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about how it's a very low risk deal that Liverpool did to get him 7 million, and I think that's one of the reasons I was upset United didn't get that Moises Caicedo, who eventually went to Brighton, because I think it was 5 million in the end, and I'm like, come on, United, it's 5 million. If it doesn't work out, okay, you've given him a shot, but you can sell him on for probably you get the 5 million back anyway. Even if you went abroad, you get the 5 million. So that's why that was my point on that deal, and I was a little bit disappointed it did go through for United then. Back to Chelsea. You mentioned Tuchel being quite ruthless, and obviously Hudson-Odoi, that was obviously put everywhere. Chilwell obviously dropped in and out of the side. Do you see any of Chelsea's new signings they brought in the summer eventually, being on the chopping board really and not really suited Tuchel and could be out again in this summer? Because I think Werner, he's going to give a lot of time to him because, for some reason he hasn't quite got going in the Premier League. Ziyech as well, Havertz as well. We look at Chilwell now, who's been in and out. Do you see any of them not being at Chelsea only after a year of signing?
Havertz. I have seen absolutely nothing from Kai Havertz. Absolutely nothing. Ziyech, you saw glimpses. Chilwell has been fantastic for them in truth under Lampard, one of their better players. Timo Werner I rate a lot because for the amount of stick the guy gets, his work ethic and his determination to get better and better in this league cannot go under the radar. The guy knows that he gets slaughtered. He's a meme everywhere right now. And the guy goes out every single week. And I know it's his job, but at least he tries. At least it looks like he cares. And when he misses a chance, he beats himself up about it. And look, Werner's got all the makings to be a fantastic player. Let's not forget, this guy isn't 27, 28. I think he's 23, 24, coming into the prime of his career. So there's plenty of time for Werner to develop. And under a German manager in Thomas Tuchel, even, he's probably going to get the best out of him. And I guess for Chelsea fans, they've got to hope that Havertz is the same, because I tell you what, no, I don't even think Bayern Leverkusen would have him back now, the way he's playing.
Well, they wouldn't pay 72 million to get him back, would they?
Well, he can't even get into the Chelsea team. I just think Havertz was such a pointless signing. I look at Chelsea's midfield. You've got Mason Mount coming through as one of the most hottest prospects, in my opinion, in Europe. I think I'd rate him that high. You've got him coming through, who's a project of your youth academy. And then you bring in this 72 million German kid who is proven in the Bundesliga but has done nothing elsewhere. It was just a very weird signing, And then listening to the things about Lampard didn't even want him, it's just madness. I feel bad for Chelsea because when Morgan was on, it was just such a mess at the time. But I'm hoping Tuchel for them can sort that out. And I'm sure that, look, Chilwell is the future of Chelsea. I just think at the moment, Alonso has sort of got a year or two and he's trying to play through. And at the moment he is, but he's playing through his skin just to sort of keep going for the next 2 years. But look, Havertz is the one for me that at the moment I can just see petering out. Because Ziyech, at the start of the season, everyone was banging on about how good he was. At the moment, he just seems to never be fit. And when he does come into the side, he doesn't really make much of an impact. So Havertz is the one I'll be worried about.
Yeah, very interesting. So we'll move on from Chelsea and Southampton. Obviously, a little bit of a shock result there, I guess. I mean, like we said, Chelsea were odds-on favourite in terms of form and everything. So it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. And I'm sure we'll talk about their next game very heavily later on. But after this, I think arguably one of the biggest results of the weekend, especially if you look at historically what's happened in this fixture, and that is Liverpool 0, Everton 2. Everton have rocked up to Anfield for the first time since 1999 and beaten Liverpool in their own backyard. And you have to say, by the scoreline, convincingly, Liverpool didn't even score. So, look, I watched a bit of this game, and for watching it, yes, Everton did sit back a little bit and try and soak up the pressure and hit Liverpool on the attack. You can see that by the formation. You can see that by how they played. But you can't discredit Everton. They defended well. They've got a clean sheet against Liverpool. I know their front three is a little bit hit and miss at the minute, but I thought Everton did defend really well. I think Pickford made actually a couple of really good saves. I mean, I think that's a collector's item saying that. So, yeah, I mean, Everton, fair play to them. The first goal was a fantastic through ball by James Rodriguez and Richarlison. It's a great finish. And then the penalty, look, it's up for debate. For me, and this is me not being biased, I think it is a pen. And that's purely down to one factor. Yes, Trent's already on the floor. Yes, Calvert-Lewin's already going down. But what Trent does wrong is he lifts his leg up to try and trip him up. And I think he does. And I think that's why people are saying it's a pen. And I think that's why it got given. If Trent had not moved and shown that he was already on the deck, I think it would have been a closer call. But because Trent moves his leg and tries to trip him up, for me, that's enough for a penalty, especially in this day and age anyway. So Sigurdsson scores it, a fantastic penalty, right in the corner. And Everton create history. I mean, is there much more to say on that one, Morgan? I thought Everton defended really well, and Liverpool, I mean, they can't get a break with injuries and results at the minute.
Everton played the game plan perfectly. Realistically, Everton just had to score first. Because as soon as Everton score first in that game, it's panic stations for Liverpool. It's like, here we go again. Another game at Anfield where we go 1-0 down and we just cannot break them down. And look, last time I was on here, I said that people were over-exaggerating Liverpool's issue. I think it is fully panic stations now. They look horrendous. And as much to the joy as everyone else, realism of it is that if Villa win their games in hand, we actually have more points than Liverpool this season. And in my opinion,
under David Moyes, have more points than Liverpool this season.
But I think the thing is, I think people saying that, I think that just discredits West Ham, because I'll speak about them in a bit with the Tottenham game. But look, I think Villa and West Ham have been better than Liverpool this season. And no one can tell me any different, considering Villa smashed them 7-2 at the start of the year. And do you know what? That result doesn't even look an anomaly anymore. People won't look at that result. Yes, it was a freak result in terms of the gap of the margin. But I tell you what, people will look at that result now and go, Villa did what was so needed. They destroyed the champions that had Virgil. Let's not forget, the Liverpool team that Villa played had Virgil in it. It was their best back four. We put out the blueprint to everyone else this season of, go on, this is how you go and destroy Liverpool. This is how you go and absolutely rinse them. And teams don't fear Liverpool anymore. They don't, because they're just not as fluid. And I know people criticise Thiago a lot, and he comes under a lot of criticism for slowing Liverpool down. And I do agree to a certain extent. But Thiago is not just the problem. Jordan Henderson, before he got injured, should be playing in midfield. Jordan Henderson is an integral part to Liverpool and how they play. Liverpool are a completely different side with Jordan Henderson in centre midfield. Completely different. So having Jordan Henderson at centre half, I know they've got injury problems, but they bought in 2 centre halves. Just play them. I know
one of them did. Yeah, Kabak did start. And I think Ben Davies has just come back from an injury.
And he's injured again. It's like,
yeah.
The thing is, I mentioned this on the last stream. The way that Klopp plays and the philosophy that Klopp plays, the physical demands of that has killed a lot of these players. We've seen it. It's such a decline. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Carragher or Neville, but they said it's like watching zombies on the pitch. They look dead. They look absolutely dead because Liverpool have not got the energy at the moment to go and physically wear teams down like they used to. That season that they won the league, they wore teams down to a point where it was physically impossible to keep them out for 90 minutes. Now, teams will go 1-0 up and go, these lot ain't going to break us down. We'll play for another 150 odd minutes. These lot ain't going to break us down. Salah and Mane score, once every 3 games now? We'll be all right. And one thing that I did find really, really annoying, and I've got to point it out, is Mo Salah's diving.
I was gonna bring this up in a minute.
And a lot of Liverpool players diving in this game, right? You are 1-0 down in the game. It is disgusting. And I hate Salah for this. I rate him so much as a player, but I tell you what, I'm losing respect for him because his diving is a joke. It's an absolute disgrace. Every week, this guy tries mugging referees off with a penalty. And I know that players have to
He's
go
been doing
down
it for years
to get decisions. But I tell you something, it's getting stupid. And the thing is, a pundit made a really good point. Can't remember who it was, but they're on about Wolf Sahar. Wolf Sahar gets booked every time he falls over in the box because instantly the referees are like, nah, no contact. He's dived yet again. Simulation. Off you go. Go on, carry on moaning about it. With Liverpool players, they never get booked for diving. I've never seen Salah get booked for diving because I tell you what, if he gets booked every dive he does, he would have missed games through suspensions and stuff. I find it ridiculous how it got that desperate in the game that you had to cheat. And that's credit to Everton because I thought Everton set up perfectly. And Everton, I mean, it felt to me like Everton wanted it more. Bear in mind, Everton were just off a shock result against Fulham, lost 2-0 and deserved to lose, didn't play well. They looked, honestly, like they wanted it more. Godfrey, Keane, Digne. I looked at their defence, Seamus Coleman, and I thought, these lot are all right here. They ain't going to... And it's just such a weird dynamic because there has been such a decline with Liverpool. And I think top 4 is a genuine issue for them now because they're in a situation where West Ham are on absolute flames. Chelsea are doing really well. Leicester aren't dropping out of that top 4 this season, and I'm certain. And City and United are going to be in there. So ultimately, you got West Ham, Chelsea,
fingers
and
crossed
Liverpool.
anyway.
Well, you got West Ham, Chelsea, and Liverpool fighting for a top 4, and potentially now even Everton. Because I tell you what, that win's brought them right back into it. If Everton,
they're level with Liverpool, and you could argue Everton are on
and they got a game.
they're on an upwards spiral, whereas Liverpool are on a decline.
But the only thing that's going to stop Everton is their consistency. They're so inconsistent at the moment. They'll go and beat Spurs, and then they'll go and lose to Fulham and Newcastle at home. It's like they just can't seem to get a consistent run of results together. But I'd be really worried if I was a Liverpool fan because the performances are such a decline from last season. And even though City were poor last year, very, very poor, I can't remember the performances being that much of a decline in terms of like the energy. I think Klopp needs to rethink a few things. And I think this is going to prove how good a manager he really is. Because now we've seen Pep Guardiola re-evolutionise himself with City. He's built a new team, brought a little bit of a tweak to the idea, and look at what they're doing now. They're fantastic. Klopp has got to find a way to do what Pep has done because Man City had their drop-off. Liverpool are now having theirs. It's how Liverpool come back from it that is going to determine whether Klopp goes down as an all-time great or just, if I'm being honest, a 2-season wonder. And I know that's harsh to say, but
look, I mean, I agree with what you say. I mean, just a couple of points to end on in terms of Liverpool. I mean, I think Everton have scored more goals at Anfield in 21 than Liverpool have. I think Liverpool's only scored once, and that was a Salah penalty against City. So I think that says it all. They're not only conceding goals, but they're not scoring. And And then the other thing for me is the audacity of Liverpool fans to call this one of the greatest teams to have played in the Premier League. It's bonkers. I know they won it once in 30 years and they won the Champions League last year, but they're nowhere near it. They're nowhere near the likes of all the great squads. And I'd be sat here forever talking, listen off all of the great squads, not just United ones, but Chelsea, Arsenal, you could go through them all. So, I think they
should. You know what? Something that hasn't been said with Liverpool, this decline didn't start this season. This decline started at the back end of last season.
Yeah.
Because if people remember, when they come back from Project Restart, they were also ridiculously poor.
They were terrible.
They were terrible. I remember Villa went to Anfield and I felt robbed that we lost 2-0. We outplayed them and we were shocking last year. We could barely get a win last year. There was a lot of games. Do you know what? It was since that Watford game when Liverpool lost 3-0 to Watford at Vicarage Road and got humiliated, and it could have been more. There was something that day. There was something. And then when they lost 7-2 to Villa, there was something there again. And it's like, this isn't an anomaly anymore. Liverpool are not the same team that they were at the start of last season. They had the motivation, they had the momentum, and they got the job done every week. And at the moment, we're now seeing a team that looks absolutely deflated, and no one can dispute the injuries that Liverpool have had. I mean, look at Villa. We've lost Jack Grealish and Matty Cash, and we look absolutely horrendous. It can happen to teams. I fully understand that. But it looks like there's no plan B with Liverpool. And there hasn't been since they lost 3-0 to Watford and got dumped, because since then, they've never recovered.
No, that's a good point. And I think, like you mentioned, at the end of the start of Project Restart last year, they were particularly poor, but that's because you could argue the league was already wrapped up, which it was. But still, I don't think you're too wrong in saying that. We'll move on from the Merseyside derby to the next result, and we've got a comment in to talk about it here. Can Fulham stay up in the Premier League? Wow.
I called this.
After this result, you never know.
We can go back to one of the first episodes that we did, and I called it. I said Fulham have shown enough to stay in the Premier League. I'm telling you now, Newcastle are going down, and Fulham will stay in this Premier League. Because I tell you something, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Fulham have got a team full of good players, and they're finally showing that Scott Parker has come into this league. Everyone wrote him off. At the start of the year, everyone was like, yeah, Fulham down, West Brom down, is who goes with them. But what Fulham have got and what they haven't been credited for is their recruitment. They've brought in Ademola Lookman. He's been fantastic. Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well has been good for them. They've brought in Tete from, I think, Lyon, and he's been really good. They brought in Joachim Anderson, after the famous tweet from the owner saying that it's not good enough and things are going to change. And they've brought in this Anderson, and he's been brilliant. I think he's their captain now. They've gone in and bought Josh Maja, a player that grew up in England. Fantastic signing.
Played against Argyle 2 years ago in League One for Sunderland.
It's mental. Like, their recruitment has been fantastic, because they haven't done what they did before and splashed a ton of money. They've gone out and got some smart loans, bought in some decent little players here and there. And look, I think in terms of the way Fulham play, and if I was to toss up between Fulham and Newcastle of who plays the better football and who is now getting the results, it's Fulham any day. And I think if Fulham played Newcastle, I think it's at Craven Cottage, because it was 1-1 at St James's Park, and Fulham got robbed that day, if I can remember. So I think it's really worrying for Newcastle, seeing Fulham now digging out results like this and slowly creeping back up. It's only 3 points now.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 3 points between Fulham and Newcastle. I'll talk about Newcastle later on, because obviously United did play them. But with Fulham, no doubt they are playing some really good football and they're getting the results along the way. I think they beat Everton as well the other week, 2-0 or something. So there you go. That speaks about Everton's consistency. I think Madja scored twice on his debut, if I'm correct, or maybe once.
He did. He did. Yeah.
So Fulham are picking up the points. And to be fair to you, you did say that Fulham might be the team to get out of it. I said West Brom. I don't know whether I don't know if that was before Big Sam.
But I thought before Big Sam.
Yeah, either way, I don't think West Brom will, but it's Big Sam. You never know, I guess, at the end of the day. But Fulham, big 3 points. Sheffield, I think, is it all but confirmed?
Yeah, it's all but over. I mean, they were unlucky with the penalty. I think I can't understand how that hasn't been given as a penalty. If you haven't seen it, Areola has just absolutely wiped out Jayden Bogle at the back post. And I think he's got the slightest nick on the ball, but it's a horror challenge. It's like, I'd put it like just under what Pickford did to Van Dijk. Like, it genuinely could have broke his leg. So to not give a penalty for that when he weren't offside, I just think it sums up Sheffield United's season. Like, just nothing has gone from them. From Jamie Vardy, Sheffield Wednesday born lad, smashing it in the 90th minute and decimating their corner flag. Just ain't gone right for them. And I feel bad for them because they were so good last year.
Yeah, they were fantastic last year. You could have called them one of the teams of the season last year. I mean, they were borderline, Europe until Project Restart. And then if you look at Project Restart, that's when they started to crumble, to be honest. You could argue, similar to Liverpool. But like I said, Sheffield United, 14 points off of Newcastle, who are obviously in the last place before relegation. Excuse me. Yeah, I think it's all but done, isn't it, for them? I mean, I know they've picked up points along the way. Even United helped them out with that. But yeah, I think it's done for them. So we'll move on from Fulham and Sheffield to Sunday. And the first game on Sunday did not disappoint whatsoever. You had two London clubs going at it, and West Ham come out on top against Mourinho's Tottenham. Thoughts on this game? Because I watched a little bit of it. I think I started watching actually when West Ham were 2-0 up. So unfortunately, I missed the first two goals. But for me, like, at that point, it was just going to be Tottenham attack, and West Ham just had to hold out. And I think Bale come on in that game. I don't think he started, but Bale come on, and for me, watching it, I think he was Tottenham's best player in my opinion. I mean, he looked so lively. If Tottenham were going to score, it was going to be through him. I mean, he smashed the bar with an incredible effort. If that had gone in, I mean, it could have been one of the goals of the season. But I think Tottenham should have scored from that cross. I think Kane should have sent it in a bit earlier, but it's fantastic defending by Rice nevertheless. And so West Ham went 2-0 up. I think Antonio scored quite early on in the first half. And then, of course, our boy Jesse Lingard did score to make it 2-0. A fantastic finish. It is nice to see him happy, playing, scoring. So, agent Jesse is doing it again. So, fair play to him. But then, Moura, of all people, scoring a header to get Tottenham back in it. And like I said, it was just going to be wave after wave. And could West Ham hold out? And with Soucek getting battered in the head and Kufal getting battered as well, to be honest, I looked at it and thought, I don't think Tottenham were going to score here. And then there was a half chance at the end where I think it deflected onto Son, it looped over Fabianski and hit the post. You just thought it's not going to go in, and West Ham defended fantastically, and I thought, they were magnificent, especially in that second half. But like I said, I think Bale needs to start some games for Tottenham because he was unbelievable when he come on.
I think Tottenham are in a very, very, very bad position right now and a bad state. And it was Adam McCullough, a United fan on the kickoff, that mentioned about Mourinho.
Big up, Adam.
And he actually said, and he hit the nail on the head with Mourinho now. And he said, if the results are going your way, and like Tottenham at the start, you were holding out leads, you were looking really good. It's only until the results go like that, the football is just fire. The football and the results, when they're both bad, it's not a good mix. And I know that's with any manager, but with Mourinho football, it's even more prominent because the style is so negative and so outdated. And unfortunately, I think he lost a lot of Tottenham fans when they drew 1-1 with Crystal Palace. They went 1-0 up against Palace. Harry Kane scores past Guaita. And they just surrendered the game. They literally just went to Crystal Palace. Go on, come and attack us for 60 minutes and see if you can break us down. They then played Fulham, did the exact same thing. Fulham broke them down. It doesn't work. It's not efficient and it doesn't work. And they're in a worrying circumstance right now because they've lost 5 of their last 6 in the Premier League. 5 of their last 6 for a side that are meant to be good defensively. That is horrendous.
Another title contender team.
Oh my God. And look, Bale has, I think he's got to the point now where Mourinho has said to him, look, this is the only chance that you've got now to stay in the Premier League with Spurs and carry on your dream to be like the golden boy that comes back and saves them. He has been really impressive, in my opinion, because he didn't feature in the Everton game because he said he wanted to get his head together or something. But since he's come back after that Everton game, he's been fantastic. Like he looks the Bale of old. Something's clicked with him now, and I'm hoping for Spurs because I've got a few Spurs mates. I'm hoping that his revelation is going to galvanise the rest of the team. But Tottenham are just an absolute mess right now. And
let's look at Tottenham. I mean, unfortunately for them, they've got third season Jose coming up, and as Chelsea fans, United fans know, it does not end well. We'll talk about that in a minute, but with this season, they're in the Carabao Cup final. They're going for the Europa League. If they win the Carabao Cup, if they win it, because, well, you never know. It's a cup final.
Yeah, true.
If Tottenham win the Carabao Cup, but then obviously miss out on the top 4, is that enough for Mourinho, or does he have to win the Europa League to get top 4 or to get Champions League qualification? What does Mourinho have to do this season for it to be a success at Tottenham? Is it one trophy? Because remember, Tottenham are not glorified for winning trophies. I mean, if he won a Carabao Cup at United, it's not seen as a huge success because we should be winning trophies. But with Tottenham, they're a big club, but they don't win a lot of trophies. So what is considered a success this season for Tottenham?
Tottenham ultimately made a deal with the devil when they agreed to have Mourinho as their manager. It's one trophy. That is all Tottenham are looking for, a trophy. Because they lost all loyalty to a project when they got rid of Pochettino. And look, it's bad when your fan base are still devastated that Poch was let go. And now look at the situation that they're in. They're even worse than when Poch was at his worst. And I just look at the situation and look, Spurs just have to win a trophy. If they don't win a trophy, he's gone. He will leave. He will walk on that job. He's got no loyalty to Tottenham whatsoever. He's said in the past that he would never manage it. All he's there for is a trophy. And I imagine that him and Daniel Levy have had conversations where it is literally a case of, look, you bring us success, you bring us a trophy, you stop our rot, and then you go and we find someone else. I wouldn't even be surprised if Tottenham are lining up a replacement now. I wouldn't even be surprised if there is a man in place because surely, like West Brom with Sam Allardyce, this was a short-term appointment. This was not a project. Mourinho is not a project manager anymore. Since Chelsea dumped him the second time, he's lost his project worth. And he's not a manager that you associate with glamorous football over a 3-year period. And look, I want to talk about West Ham because I don't want to spend loads of time on Spurs because I think we could be here all week like Liverpool. But West Ham have been so impressive, and I have to publicly apologise to West Ham and Jesse Lingard because I was the one that said that it won't work out, and I couldn't understand it whatsoever. But I tell you what, he is the difference maker right now. He is the difference maker.
Better than a loan move to Sheffield, wasn't it?
West Ham, before they had him, were missing that spark, that bit of quality that wins them games, that gets them over the line in these type of games. And Villa, we thought we had that in Ross Barkley when Ross Barkley come in straight away, scored against Liverpool, got 2 assists, then scores the winner against Leicester with a 25-yard screamer, playing week in, week out. We thought we had a Jesse Lingard in Ross Barkley. But the thing is with Jesse Lingard is that now Jesse is doing it on a consistent basis, and it almost every game is realistically the difference maker. He's turned West Ham from being an average side before that got good results and were overperforming into a side that are now, for me, they're going to get Europe. They are a tremendous side, and they've got such a good balance. You look at Rice and Souček, brilliant holding midfielders in the primes of their careers or coming into the primes of their careers. Yes, their defence is a little bit old, but they've got experienced players. Craig Dawson has come in and been fantastic for them. And he didn't even start at the start of the season. I think it was Balbuena and Diop who were playing at the start of the season. And then Ogbonna had come in as well. And Ogbonna's been brilliant this year. Creswell's been brilliant. Literally every player that at West Ham
as well.
Kufal has come in and done it. Jared Bowen as well. I know he's not really in the team at the moment, but he was doing brilliant. And Ben Rama, I know people say he doesn't have an end product.
Is it Ben Johnson as well, the young fullback? He's been fantastic. Not Everton, sorry, I'm thinking of David Moyes' past, but West Ham have been phenomenal this year. And them and Leeds, when Leeds beat us 3-0, but when West Ham beat us 3-1 at Villa Park a few weeks ago, they absolutely slaughtered us. Like, it was lambs to the slaughter, man. Jesse Lingard, it was his debut, and obviously he scores 2. But the pockets that he was picking up in the 10 role, it was painful to watch because he was just running the game. He was running us ragged. We didn't know what to do. So it's such a good time to be a West Ham fan. And this reminds me of when Villa, under Martin O'Neill, were trying to break into that top 4. And I hope for West Ham that they don't drop out of it like we did on the final day to Tottenham. Don't think that's going to happen this season. But, look, I think Europe's a realistic, position for them now. And I think it's about time that West Ham are up there because they've spent an awful lot of money. They've got an awful lot of players that have been underperforming. And now they've started to perform under Moyes, which is good, man, because West Ham were in a really devastating situation not long ago. Spencer FC at the start of this season predicted them to finish 16th. And he thought that they'd have a really tough season and go down nearly and survive by the skin of their teeth. And they're pushing Chelsea for Europe this year. So, West Ham need a lot of credit. They're doing really well this year. And look, they're a good team to watch. I do like them, even though they've beat us twice this year. Yeah, unfortunate for Villa there. Just to finish on Tottenham, before we move on to Villa and Leicester, with Mourinho, like we mentioned, 3rd season coming up with Jose, or 2.5, however you want to do it, but the 3rd season really for Jose. We spoke about Chelsea and we spoke about United. It does not end well. Is this a new Mourinho where it's going to be completely different? or is he going to implode, have a fallout, and then leave? Is it going to be the same Mourinho of third season syndrome, or is it going to be a new one, do you think?
I, oh my God, I think this could be Mourinho's last job. I think this could be the end of Jose Mourinho. I think this could finish him off. Because after this, if any club goes near him or touches him, I don't think he means to be, but he is just an absolute poison to any club that he goes into now. And it's so hard and so horrible to see a man that revolutionised the game and is regarded as one of the best failing. He is just failing. And, them Tottenham players, it was, like I mentioned, it was a deal with the devil. They're used to Pochettino, a manager that, let's be honest here, yes, he would give the hair dry treatment, but you can tell that he made exceptions. You look at players like Dele Alli that like their comfort, Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale under Pochettino, in my opinion, would have been exceptional. He would have been a lot better and more efficient to the team and played more under Poch than under Mourinho. I just think Mourinho is at the stage of his management career now where he doesn't care about the players anymore. You do the job for me. You get me the trophies. That is it. Like, I don't. It seems to me like them Tottenham players don't feel loved. They don't feel as though that there's much coming from Mourinho. And look, it always ends devastating now for Mourinho. And I think this is going to be the same. I don't know one Tottenham fan that wants him in the job. He's not even wanted by the fans, which is embarrassing even more because they're in a cup final. And my mate said to me that there is a 4% chance that they would win that game. Don't ask me why he said 4, but he's 96% certain that City are going to win. I'm 99% certain that City will win that game because I tell you what, the real marker for me was watching Tottenham v Man City. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and watching Spurs try and compete with City in the league. And I tell you something, the golfing class between those two teams was frightening. You compare that to the start of the season when Tottenham won 2-0 and everyone was going, City are finished, Tottenham are going to win the league, this is going to be mental. But I tell you what, Tottenham were so bad, like so bad. You're bad when you've got Eric Dyer starting in centre half every week and Davinson Sanchez getting put on the floor and being memed in that game. It was just, oh my God. Mourinho needs to get out of there for his own legacy. If they don't win a cup this year, he has to walk. I can't see a world in which he stays unless he is arrogant and just wants money. I'm going to be honest, because there's no other incentive for me of him staying there. He doesn't love the club. The club doesn't love him. The fans don't want him. The players quite clearly don't want him. When is it going to end, in the famous words of AFTV? When is it going to end, Robbie?
Yeah, I had to slide AFTV in there while I was talking about Tottenham. I bet Arsenal fans, they're watching, are turning in their grave. Anyway, to save your sanity, we'll move on to Villa 1, Leicester City 2. Now, I'll be kind. Do you want to go first on this, or shall I give my views?
Do you want to give your views, mate, and then I'll try and give mine constructively.
All right, so I'll try and be short and sweet because I'm sure you will have a little bit to say on it. I thought Leicester were magnificent, to be honest. I thought they played really well. Maddison, before obviously go off injured, I thought was fantastic. Obviously, I think he got a goal. I don't know whether he got an assist or not. No, I think Vardy got the assist, but he got a fantastic goal, and I thought he was one of their star players. Harvey Barnes is another player which is so underrated. It's unbelievable. I thought he was incredible again. I think he might have got a goal and assist in that game. So a fantastic performance for him and a good finish as well. You know, Martinez threw himself at it, but fantastic finish from Harvey Barnes. And I think we could argue Martinez could have caught the first one or the first shot anyway. So yeah, I thought Leicester were really well. In terms of Villa, elephant in the room is you heavily miss Jack Grealish. El Ghazi does not fill the boots. I think if you put all of your front four together, it's not the same as having Jack Grealish in that team. That's how big of an impact he is. I think El Ghazi, Traore, I know Traore scored, but El Ghazi, Traore and Barkley, who started for you, them three combined are not as good as Jack Grealish on his own. And that's how big of a worry that is for Villa. Barkley was so poor, in my opinion. I mean, this is his chance. Grealish is injured. He's got to step up now with the experience he's got. Playing for Chelsea as well. He's played in Europe, for Christ's sake. I mean, and he can't step up in a Villa game is beyond me. He's not taking his chance. Traore scored a good goal. I mean, it's a good finish considering, again, Schmeichel threw himself at him. He managed to adjust his body and finish well. But in terms of Villa defensively, I found Mings quite underwhelming in that game, to be honest, because I think for the first goal, it's just you got to go and you've got to block the shot. You know Maddison's going to hit it from there. He's got no other option but to hit it, and there's no one closing him down. He's the closest one there. He's the captain on the day, for Christ's sake. Go and close him down. And then you've seen it about 5 minutes later when I can't remember who it was who had a shot for Leicester, but you had Douglas Luiz put him off and Konza threw himself in the way of the ball and they blocked the shot. Why didn't Mings do that for the first goal? And I think defensively, he looked all right, did well against Vardy, but then set piece wise, he's your main threat and the delivery was poor. It's not near him. You know, I don't understand why you got Mings in there, very similar to Maguire at United. He's your main aerial outlet from corners. Why is the delivery poor? Why are you not getting it near him? So yeah, I thought Mings was a little bit underwhelming in that game, to be honest. I didn't see anything spectacular from him. I think, you know, if I'm looking at a player that should be starting for England, according to some people, or even signing for bigger clubs, I didn't see anything in that game. And I know it was a one-off, but yeah. That's my thoughts on the game. Morgan, go on. Unleash yourself. The reins are free. Crack on.
That's disgusting. I was absolutely embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. And do you know what? We're in a terrible situation right now. We're in an absolute terrible situation. And the league table wouldn't tell you that whatsoever. But let's focus on this game first.
Oh, by the way, just quickly, shout out to Luke Thomas, a left back. Magnificent game. I thought he was unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, and fair play to Brendan Rodgers. He could have played Fuchs or whoever, but Luke Thomas, I said this last season when he played in Project Restart. I said he is some player and he was magnificent against you. I thought it was really good going forward. Defensively, and this is the difference. He threw himself in the way of that Traore chance right in the first half. That is an unbelievable tackle. And then there was another one where a cross come in. He didn't even head it, but he put Traore off. That is an unbelievable bit of defending. And if it's Wan-Bissaka or if it's whoever, we are saying, oh my God, that is unbelievable. It was an unbelievable, I don't even want to call it tackle clearance. He just got in the way of Traore, put him off. He couldn't win the header. They get a goal kick. He was unreal in that game. And yeah, fair play to him and to Brendan Rodgers for playing him. But yeah, Ming should have thrown himself in the way like Thomas did for Traore. But back to you, mate.
Leicester were, you know, you have to pay respects to the better side. Leicester, obviously, Leicester set up to play against Jack Grealish. You know, they played Castagna and Pereira on the right-hand side, two right backs, which is what West Ham did against us to try and nullify the threat of West Ham. Brendan Rodgers obviously identified Grealish as the threat, which pretty much every team does. It come out sort of 24 hours before kickoff that got leaked that Jack Grealish had got a leg injury and he was out of the Leicester and the Leeds game, which was obviously true. But look, this was a massive opportunity for certain players. You mentioned El Ghazi, Traore, Barkley to step up, and it was nothing short of embarrassing. Leicester scored two quick fire goals, and at that point, I was devastated. I was embarrassed, and the manner in which we conceded the two goals, I don't blame Emi Martinez for any of them, because when you've got an informed James Maddison, Jamie Vardy shooting at you initially from 7 yards without being pressured whatsoever, and no one picking up Harvey Barnes for the rebound. What's the guy meant to do? The guy has saved our ass so many times this season, and it finally gets to a point where he physically can't do anymore. Like, like you said, why isn't Mings throwing himself? Because aside from that, I actually thought that Mings had a decent game. But apart from that, just he did that against Man United last season at Villa Park with Mason Greenwood, and Roy Keane digged him out for it. He didn't throw his body on the line, and Greenwood made him look silly. Again, he doesn't throw his body on the line. Maddison takes the mick. And it was just that first half was as embarrassing as I've ever seen it. The only players in that first half that could hold their heads high was John McGinn, Ollie Watkins, and Matt Targett. Them three were the only players that looked like they were bloody trying. The rest of them looked absolutely terrible. And El Mohammadi comes into the side, and I fully appreciate that he's not Matty Cash, because obviously we've got an injury to Matty Cash as well as Jack Grealish. And for me, Matty Cash and Jack Grealish have been two of our best players this season. So when we haven't got them in the side, it's going to be tough. But it just looked like we weren't trying in that first half. It was embarrassing. Leicester, for the first goal, someone put a picture of it on Twitter. Our midfield was non-existent. We had no midfield. Now we're talking about Louise, McGinn, and Barkley. That midfield isn't unchanged. That midfield isn't affected by Matt Cash and Jack Grealish. It's simple, amateur, basic things that we're letting ourselves down on. And this has been happening since we come back from COVID. We've not been the same side. And I said it then, and I'll say it now. The COVID situation has ruined us. It has absolutely ruined us, because our players look fatigued. They look lackluster. The performance against Brighton the game before was single-handedly the most disgusting performance I've seen from a Villa side in the last few years. It was disgusting. We had one shot on target, which was a P-roller to Sanchez. We had to defend for 90 minutes. And if Emi Martinez wasn't in those sticks against Brighton, we'd have bloody lost. We would have got smashed 3 or 4-0. And we're lucky that Brighton aren't a good side going forward. Southampton away, Emi Martinez saves our guts again. In this game, Emi Martinez makes 2 or 3 world-class saves to even keep us in it at 2-0. We've got, as a team, this is our problem, right? We can't predict the fact that Cash and Grealish are going to get injured. We're obviously going to be hindered in a certain way. But El Mohammadi comes into the side against Harvey Barnes, and he may as well have not played, because Harvey Barnes just had him on toast for 90 minutes. And every time Harvey Barnes got the ball, I was going, no. I couldn't watch it because he couldn't cope with him. And now we're playing against Leeds on Saturday, who have got Jack Harrison, who's one of their better players, or they'll probably shove Rafinha on that side, and they're just going to bully El Mohammadi for 90 minutes because Cash is out of that game as well. Dean Smith is being tested as a manager now, because there has got to be some form of rotation, because we look knackered. We look absolutely knackered. McGinn looks knackered. Louise looks knackered. Barkley, I haven't even gotten to him yet. But our midfield has been non-existent for a few weeks now. The Southampton game, they were terrible, got lucky. Brighton, terrible, got lucky. Couldn't even pass a ball 5 yards against Brighton. And this game, that first goal, our midfield was non-existent. Non-existent. And Marvelous Nakamba did brilliant when he come in against Arsenal. It was the last time that Villa played well. Nakamba was brilliant. Ginn really, really, really doing well. Barkley had an okay game. Not great, but he did okay. It's time to see players like Jacob Ramsey. It's time to see Morgan Sanson start a game. Dean Smith, I love him, but he needs to take risks now because we have made the least changes in the Premier League so far this season. Our players look dead. I spoke earlier about Liverpool looking like zombies. So do we. We honestly looked like zombies in that first half. We didn't lay a glove on Leicester. And in the second half, obviously Traore scores. Fair play to him. Great finish. Brilliant ball by Matt Target, who for me was our man of the match and has been phenomenal this season. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. And you would think, we've just scored straight after half time. Leicester's game plan is out the window. Out the window because we have now put ourselves in the ascendancy to go and get an equaliser and get back into the game. We scored at the perfect time, 3 minutes after half time. You're thinking, right, let's go for it. I'd rather us lost 4 or 5-1 and capitulate than play it safe and lose 2-1 like we did. Because first 15 minutes in the second half, we gave it a good go. But for the rest of the game, shocking. Absolutely shocking. Barely caused Leicester any problems. And there'll be Villa fans that go, we played all right in the second half. Yeah, but we didn't get anything out of the game. We played well in the second half because Leicester sat there and went, go on, break us down. We'll watch you. You can just pass the ball sideways in front of us. We'll just sit here in 2 banks of 4 and catch you on the counter-attack because we've got Jamie Vardy. You know it's bad when we keep Jamie Vardy quiet and Leicester still run riot. You know it's bad because I was scared about Vardy before the game more than anyone else. So look, we've got a big game against Leeds because I don't want to lose to them again. It was hell last time. I don't want to lose to them again. And these players look shattered. I want to see Jacob Ramsey start because he did brilliant when he came on. I want to see him start now because it's about time the kid deserved to start. He brings energy. He knows how to play the Dean Smith game plan. I want to see Sanson start from McGinn because McGinn hasn't been good enough. I want Nakamba in the side. I want that whole midfield three changed for this Leeds game because we are losing games, and this was one of them in our midfield right now. And it's half the players' fault and half the management because these players are genuinely getting run into the ground. Players like McGinn has pretty much played every minute of every game, and he looks shattered. He needs a break. And now that we've got Morgan Sanson in, and now that we've got Marvelous Nakamba up to the speed of the Premier League, and we've developed Jacob Ramsey, we can start integrating them into games and start playing them more and rotate the squad. The best teams rotate their squad. You look at West Ham. If Bowen doesn't play, Fornals goes in. If Fornals doesn't play, Lingard plays. If Ben Rama doesn't play, Ben Johnson will come in and do a job. They rotate constantly. At the moment, we don't rotate. And I know it's because Dean Smith wants to play his best 11. But in this climate, you have to rotate. Man United do it. Everyone is rotating. And yes, it may change something, but it's your job as a management to make that change and then adapt it to how you play and suit it to how you play against the opposition. So, look, and the last bit on this situation, I have to talk about Ross Barkley. I have to.
Well, I was going to come in and say now, just before we do talk about Ross Barkley, you've had comments in now. Excuse it because it's Football Manager talk, so just let it slide, Morgan. Will Brentford be going up this season? Nope.
No.
Nope, Damari Gray, and nope, because I'm above you in the league, mate. Anyway, to speak about two English players, attacking English players, completely different ends of the scales. We'll start with Harvey Barnes, obviously goal and assist against you. Should he be in the England Euro squad in the summer? Is he that good? Because you look, he's gone so under the radar. He's been banging in assists and goals this season in big games as well. You can call Villa a big game, but Liverpool, and even Man United as well. He's been performing really well. Should he be in the England squad? But then looking at Ross Barkley, what is wrong with him? What can you even pinpoint as a Villa fan? What is wrong with him? Because that's the first time I've seen him play, and I'm looking at him thinking, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And he's moping off when he got subbed off. He's taking an age to walk around. What is wrong with this bloke?
So Harvey Barnes should be in the England squad. Gareth Southgate was at the game, which unfortunately players like Konza, it wasn't the best game for him. For Southgate to go and watch. I thought Matt Targett gave a really good account of himself. I'd have loved Southgate to have seen Matty Cash in the flesh as well. But hey ho. Ross Barkley at the moment is nothing short of an embarrassment. And I speak passionately on this, because when Ross Barkley first come to Villa, he come with a point to prove. And he played
the message was, I'll get you playing. You play well. You're in the England squad for the Euros.
Yeah.
Or I don't know whether it was you go back to Chelsea or whatever, but I'm sure it was you being in the England squad.
Yeah, it was that scenario. And Dean Smith has come out and openly said that he needs to book his ideas up because the level of performance and his attitude reeks. It just reeks. Like, it's so bad. He plays at the start of the season against Liverpool, does really well. Scores the winner against Leicester, does really well.
Great finish, by the way.
Before he got injured, he was fantastic. He was the piece. He was the Jesse Lingard to West Ham, like I mentioned earlier. He was the piece that we needed. He was that final bit of quality and end product that Jack Grealish needed around him to complete the team. And we looked such a complete team with him in the side before he got injured. He gets injured, comes back, and he's a completely different guy. And I don't know, and some people are accusing quite a few things to this situation. Some are saying that the only reason why he's actually playing is because he's got a certain thing in his contract, saying that he has to play a certain amount of games, similar to the Willian situation at Arsenal. Some are saying that because he's got injured and because he realises the competition, he knows he's not going to get in the England Euro squad, so his motivation has gone through the pan and he just doesn't want to play anymore. I don't know what it is, but he needs to sort it out, because I tell you what, the camera's picking up his reaction to getting subbed off. This isn't the first time that it's happened. He got subbed off against Arsenal and he kicked a water bottle and went mental about it and sat and sulked. He sulks every time he gets subbed off. Mate, the reason why you get bought off is because we keep you on the pitch for 70, 80 minutes when we've got a youngster on the bench in Jacob Ramsey who should be starting over you because he's done nothing wrong. Ross Barkley has done nothing since he come back from injury apart from score a winner against Southampton. That is all he's done. He's done nothing to warrant a starting place in our side. And yet, if I was Jacob Ramsey, I would genuinely be sat on that bench thinking, Dean Smith, play me. What can I do worse than Ross Barkley right now? Because Ross Barkley, not being disrespectful to him, trudges around for 70 minutes, makes the odd physical barge here and there, makes the odd pass, picks up a good space every 25, 30 minutes and passes the ball backwards. You're meant to be our most attacking midfielder against Leicester and you're picking up the ball in like where Douglas Luiz is and trying to do his job. No, stay up the pitch and connect the play between El Ghazi and Watkins, because the amount of times that Watkins was looking, going, Where the hell is he? Why is he 50 yards there? Why isn't he next to me trying to link the play with me? I can't understand it. I really can't. His attitude is awful. I watched him lose the ball, didn't even run for it. Douglas Luiz run 30 yards to go and make a recovery run for the recovery run that he should have been making. And you know what that caused? The first goal to happen. No midfield, cut straight through us, bang, 1-0. Game's done. All down to his stupidity. His his passing was so sloppy as well. He would just give the ball away and not care that he's given the ball away. This is a guy that Chelsea want 30 million for. If we want him, I wouldn't even pay 30 quid for him right now. Honestly, wouldn't. And
go get Minamino for 20.
Our recruitment has been something that has been praised, and he at the moment is the only player out of our signings that is beginning to not work out. And for me, Morgan Sanson now looks like a signing to push him away, if I'm being honest.
I think he has to start.
I think Sanson has been bought in knowing that Ross Barkley is just not the player that we look for. He's not the player that we first signed. And unfortunately, it comes a point now where I would give him one more chance. One more chance. Leads away. You've got to perform. If you don't, bye-bye. We'll play Jacob Ramsey every week and integrate him into the first team and get him regular first team football.
Or Sanson. We'll play Sanson.
Or Sanson. The kid, Jacob Ramsey, and I know this might be a biased point of view because obviously I love the kid, but he can't do any worse. Morgan Sanson has looked bright when he come on. He was playing in the Champions League for Marseille before he signed for us. The guy has quality playing. Just playing for a game because he can't do any worse than Ross Barkley. Why keep putting faith in someone that disrespects the club, has an attitude and a sulk every time he comes up? It's not like when Jack Grealish got subbed off against Newcastle when he pulled a massive strop and went, "Why have you bought me off? I wanted to score. I haven't scored in this game and Newcastle are terrible. Why are you bringing me off?" Jack Grealish is obviously the best player on the pitch. There's a difference. When he got bought off, a rare occasion, he was fuming. Barkley's the first one to get dragged most weeks because he's terrible. He's not doing anything right on the pitch. So, look, I think I have been a little bit harsh, but you know what? I'm allowed to be critical because our standards are up here. We've set the bar so high this year on how we've started and how we've been this season. And now it just feels like we're limping to the end of the season. It genuinely feels like we are now limping to that 38th game against Chelsea. Well. And that's the worrying thing. We have still got a large portion of this season to play. And I am praying, if there is a God up there somewhere, Jack Grealish to be fit for that Leeds game, because like you mentioned, we are such a different side without him. And in that second half, we showed a little bit of what we can be like without Jack Grealish. But it's just not a good situation at the moment for us. We look lethargic, we look leggy.
Players in that game did not take their chances when Jack Grealish is injured. No. You've got to prove that you're not a one-man team. You can play the same way and win games without him. And I think the last time you didn't play with him in your team, you lost. The other time you didn't play him, with him in your team because he was injured, lost. I was actually watching this, and yet again, I was thinking, if I'm Jack Grealish, I might be sat here watching this game and thinking, I can't leave Villa, because if I leave Villa, this is how they're going to be. And I can't see Villa like this.
That is fully the reason as to why, one of the reasons as to why he has stayed at the club, because he's fully aware that if he leaves, it would go horrifically wrong, and it would probably result in a massive decline. And look, at the end of the day, we're not the finished article. It's reported that we're spending big in the summer. We're bringing in more players and getting rid of a lot of the dead wood that just aren't featuring in the squad. And hopefully, now that we're in the situation that we are, we can now attract the right players. We've already got Sanson in, which is a big move, a big step ahead. But look, it's a frustrating time. I watched that game and I was embarrassed. My anger is a follow-on from the Brighton performance because any Villa fan watching that game would have been disgusted as well. There was nothing positive about it whatsoever. And this has been a build-up of poor performances. And Dean Smith has come out since and said the right things. He said, look, we know it's not good enough. We know that we have got to sharpen up for Leeds. And look, I'm always going to back Villa to pull a result out the bag because this team this season hasn't gone on a bad run. We haven't gone on a really bad run of results. But at the moment, it does look like we're going to go that way and we're going to be on the end of a bit of a bad run and we're going to have to try and just ride the storm and pick up points where we can until Kashi comes back, until Jack comes back, and we get the core of the team back because look, Grealish is what it is. He's one of, if not the best player in the Premier League. When you're missing your best player, it's always going to be difficult, especially against the Leicester side that have just gone and beat Liverpool 3-1. They're playing Europa League football, but they're probably going to be playing Champions League football next season for a reason. Yeah. They're no mugs, Leicester. So look, my anger is more the fact that it just felt like certain players weren't trying, and that's the first time that I've seen that last season. And my emotion stems from last year where we were terrible and players weren't trying and we were looking as though we were going down. So look, at the end of the day, if we beat Leeds, the whole dynamic of everything changes. But watching that game, especially that first half, I could not feel any more sorry for Emi Martinez in goal, who has been for me keeper of the season this year. It was just one game too far. It was one game too far. We got away with it against Brighton. But when you play a team like Leicester with the quality that they've got, they're going to put you to bed. And if Leicester wanted to, they could have beat us a lot more in this game. In the second half, they were just content and just wanted the win.
Yeah. No, I think we summed up well. We'll quickly run through the last two results of that game week before we give our score predictions for the fixtures coming up. Arsenal 0, Man City 1. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. City dominated this game without really leaving third gear, I think, and I don't think Arsenal really threatened at all. So, look, City are the machine at the minute. It's hard to beat them. You would have thought Arteta would have had a chance, knowing Pep as he does and knowing how City play. 1-0 is not the worst result on paper, but I suppose if you're an Arsenal fan, you look at the performance, you could say, well, we didn't really create a lot going forward, so, you know, it's not really a good result, but I suppose if you don't get a thumping off City at the minute, then, it's considered a good result. So, anything to add to that one, Morgan, or is that one a pretty self-explanatory result?
I think it's another game where Rob Holding has cost Arsenal.
Yeah.
Such poor defending.
How do you lose the header to Sterling?
How are you letting Raheem Sterling, the smallest player on the pitch, after 2 minutes score a header like that? As soon as City scored, it was game over.
I've seen City kick off. I've seen City kick off, yeah. I come back 2 minutes later, it's 1-0. City have just scored. It's not the greatest start, is it, for Arsenal?
That first 20 minutes, honestly, could have been about 5-0 to Man City. Like, it was an onslaught. Every time City got the ball, it looked like they were going to score. Arsenal, again, like Villa against Brighton, it was just a pathetic performance from them. And I don't think Arsenal fans will mind me saying it. They were so poor. Any Arsenal fan that is happy with watching that you need your head for a wobble. Because, you know, they were another one. They were another one that just looked like they weren't trying. Like, Aubameyang held nothing up all game. And look, City nullified the only threat that Arsenal have in Kieran Tierney, in the final 15 minutes of the first half. And as soon as City nullified that, they were like, yeah, again, like Leicester, we can just sit back, defend. Yeah, it's all right. We will win the game comfortably. So, look, Arsenal, Jesus Christ, 11th loss this season. And they've fully deserved that amount of losses because they've been terrible.
Yeah, I think we better leave that one there because with Arsenal and City, we could sit here for a week. But the final result we will talk about is obviously Manchester United. Man United 3, Newcastle United 3. 1. I have to say, you mentioned earlier about Fulham and Newcastle look like they're in trouble. Yes, they didn't win this game, but I have to be honest, if Newcastle had won or got a point out of that game, I think it would have been fully justified. United were horrific in that game. We were awful. And look, we had one shot on target in the first half, and that was Rashford's goal. After that, St. Maximin scored from a poor clearance header by Maguire. Fred's not picking them up. It's a fantastic finish from St. Maximin. You can't take anything away from it. It's poor defending again from United, and that's one of our downfalls is we do concede too many goals. I think, if you look at the top half of the table, only Liverpool and Everton have conceded more than us. I think we've conceded double the amount of City. It's not good enough if we want to push City all the way. So that's an area that needs to be looked at now and in the summer, in my opinion, because how Bailly doesn't start, I don't know, because I think Lindelof, like Gary Neville said, Lindelof's problem is Maguire. Maguire's problem is Lindelof. If you look at Maguire and Bailly against Sociedad, I know they had a minute or 2 minutes where they were absolutely mayhem and we couldn't concede 2. But apart from that, they kept a clean sheet. And Henderson in net, clean sheet against, a really good Spanish team with a great attacking front line. Clean sheet. So I don't know what Bailly's got to do to get in the team over Lindelof, to be honest. Second half, much of the same. Poor again from United, to be honest. We didn't really threaten a lot. And then it's Matic who finds himself on the edge of the box, manages to weave himself into some space, finds a pass somehow to Bruno. Bruno manages to get a toe poke onto it, direct it into the path of Dan James, who at the time takes the first touch, and I'm screaming, just absolutely wallop it, Sunshine. And by God, does he? And I'm over the moon for him. He's had a tough couple of years in terms of off the pitch, on the pitch. He started well at the beginning of last season, but obviously tailed off. This season he's been here and there, but it is nice to see him scoring. I think it's 3 goals in his last 3 games and an assist chucked in there as well. So he's really coming into some form. So it's nice to see that, and it was a great finish from him. And then another penalty. I did say during the day, I said, to be honest, we haven't had a penalty in a while. So I've got a feeling. And Rashford gets brought down. It is what it is. You could argue it's soft. I don't even think it got checked, to be honest, which was weird. It got taken quite quickly. Darlow did a little bit of a fish dive as well to try and stop it. I don't really know what was going on there, but Bruno slots it in. The best midfielder in the Premier League slots it in, and 3-1. But like I do have to say, I don't think we were that good. We were not good in that game, and I think Newcastle, to be fair to them, gave a really good account of themselves. And like I said, they'll probably be disappointed they don't come away with a point or more from that game, because St. Maximin had another chance in the second half where he was just allowed to take about 3 touches at the edge of our box and have a shot. So I think Newcastle played really well. They pressed high. I thought Almiron was unbelievable. He had a really good game. St. Maximin did well. But yeah, it was an interesting game, and like I said, Newcastle, fair play to him. And I think it's Graham Jones, their new assistant manager, who's changed them into a 4-4-2 diamond, and they're really playing some good football with Willock in midfield, Hayden, Almiron, Shelby. They play really well, and they play really well against us. And, United not at their best, still getting 3 points, so we can't really complain. It's just the performance was a little bit, uninspiring. But we got the win. We've obviously been hit with injuries, but you won't hear us cry about it like Liverpool. No one's died, unlike Van Dijk. So, yeah, we just have to bide our time with them injuries, see what happens. Sociedad again on Thursday, 4-0 up. So hopefully a bit of rotation. I hope Bruno gets a rest because I think he needs one. And if push comes to shove, like we do concede twice, then you bring him on. Diallo, I'd love to see him start. He's obviously got a little bit of a taste for it. So if he starts against Sociedad, I think it's a perfect time. No pressure. Go in there. Do what you can, mate. Sholatire. Shola Shoratire. I've got to get used to pronouncing that one now. One of the youngest players to come through. Fantastic moment for him. I mean, he is 17, and I think he's been playing under 23 football for the past 2 years, which says everything about the kid. So, yeah, look forward to hopefully seeing a bit more of him because he looks like another unreal talent through the United production line. But I've waffled there about the game for a bit. Morgan, if you've got anything to add, please do.
Not really. I think a lot of people would have expected this result. I think United due a win, especially after the last Premier League performance against West Brom, obviously dropping points there. For United, it was just about the win. Performance is almost secondary. At the moment, United just need to get wins on the board. And look, as good as Newcastle have played in that game, like you say, the thing that matters is points on the board. And again, you can play as well as you want, but if you're not getting results, you're clearly doing something wrong. And look, Newcastle are in a very, very bad situation because whereas before they almost had a comfort zone because everyone, sort of lingering above the drop zone, probably thought to themselves, Fulham and that, they ain't going to get past 20-odd points this season, so we'll probably be all right here. But the dynamic has changed completely, and they now find themselves in a situation where if Fulham better their result, they're in the bottom three. So it's worrying times for Newcastle. It really is because their form has been horrendous. I think they've got 2 wins in their last 7 or 8. It's just not good enough. And the Newcastle fan base will go into absolute outrage if they get relegated. I'm pretty certain of it. I think it'll be the nail in the coffin for Mike Ashley as well, especially after what happened in the summer with their proposed takeover. So Newcastle have got to find some results quite quickly because
I think we have to point out as well, Wilson is still a massive blow for them in terms of his injury.
He's now out for the best part of 2 months. So the goals have got to come somewhere else. And I think that's what's worrying Newcastle fans is in Callum Wilson, you had a player there that arguably could score you the goals in that big moments to win you those games and get you those points and get you out of that situation. So look, I think Newcastle and Crystal Palace are in deep trouble. I think those 2 are the teams that I could see getting drawn into that fight with Fulham, and it's going to be a 3-way race now between them 3. Newcastle, on paper, have, for me, the best side out of the 3 of them and have the most players that can get them out of that situation. But they've got to start performing and they've got to get results quickly because before they know it, they could be in that relegation zone and it gets to a stage where it's unsavable and they'll be playing championship football next year. So, look, as good as they played, it's about points on the board. Villa went to United and played really well. We didn't get anything. Doesn't matter. Doesn't count for anything. It's forgotten about now. So, again, this is another game that Newcastle fans will look at and go, didn't get anything.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. You can't argue with that. We'll rattle through our score predictions for this coming game week. We will start with Man City West Ham. This could be a very, very good game. Much like, I say a few early kickoffs have been, but this is, like I said, the potential to be, arguably one of the best games of the game week. I'm going to go all in, and I'm going to go 2-1 Man City. I think Man City are an absolute machine at the minute. if West Ham beat them, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's got to be an hell of an effort because City are something else at the minute.
I was going to say, yeah, I think if any team are to beat Man City at the moment in terms of form, it's definitely West Ham. But I think the job is way too big for West Ham. So I'm going to go with 2-0 Man City. I personally can't see West Ham scoring because I think West Ham will set up to be compact. And I think West Ham will set up on the counter attack against City. And look, I think West Ham were very fortunate to beat Tottenham, especially when Tottenham put the pressure on. City are a different breed. They will finish them chances that Tottenham didn't take. So I think it'd be 2-0 City.
Perfect. West Brom Brighton. A little bit of a relegation scrap, I guess you could call it, but West Brom looking more out of it than Brighton is at the minute. It's hard to predict this one. Obviously, Brighton do play tonight. I think they got Palace and, their sort of derby. So, yeah, I'm going to go... I think West Brom... I don't say West Brom have turned a corner in terms of results, but I think in performances they probably have. They probably should have beaten Burnley at the weekend, but West Brom even had 10 men in that game. I think missed an open goal or something. So, I'm going to go 1-1 in this one. But if West Brom nicked it, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm going to go with 1-0 Brighton. I think Brighton need to win this game. I think this is a really important game for them because, like I mentioned earlier, Brighton, if they had the quality, if they had a striker who could put the ball in the back of the net, Brighton honestly would have beat us 4 or 5-0. Brighton's approach play is phenomenal. It's the final third bit that they really struggle, but I think they'll have too much quality for West Brom. Because Brighton are very good defensively as well. I could see this being a game that Brighton have 70+% possession, if I'm being honest. I'm going to go with 1-0 Brighton. I think Brighton will closely get this game, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it was a 0-0. I really wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, no, I think a draw or a 1 goal in it, I think could be the one for this game. What should be 5-0 Brighton now? Leeds Aston Villa. I'll let you go first on this one to get your thoughts out the way, and then I'll give you a quick fire, no nonsense score prediction.
KG. I'm going to go with a KG 1-0 to Villa. I think Emi Martinez and that back four have to have a corker because Leeds are going to bang up for this game. Jack Harrison, Rafinha and Bamford scare the hell out of me after what they did to us at Villa Park, especially Bamford, netting a hat-trick against us. Still, it has me in here, so I'm hoping it has the Villa players in here because it hurt me probably just as much as them. Watching Bamford dance all over Villa Park like Lingard did. Look, I think it'd be cagey, very, very cagey, but I'm going to go with 1-0 to the Villa, and I'm going to bank it on. Do I go Ross Barkley after what I've said? Nah. Do you know what? Bertrand Traore, he loves a goal. He loves a goal. He's our third top goal scorer this year. I think he'll bag us a goal in the second half and we'll get a cagey 1-0 win and get our revenge on those yellows.
3-2 Villa. I think Leeds is never gonna.
Jesus Christ!
Leeds are never gonna concede just the 1 goal. They're gonna concede. I tell you what, they're gonna concede. They're not here just for little 1 goal margins or little 1-0 wins. Mate, they're here to make a statement. 3-2 Villa.
Mate, the thing that makes me not think that's gonna happen is because after watching us against Leicester, This prediction is hard because if Jack Grealish is fit, I would predict more goals for Villa because he creates the chances.
Even without Villa, I think Dean Smith is going to shove a rocket up that place, and
I
I
hope,
think
you
you
know,
are going to be guns a blazing.
I hope he does. I hope he does because he did give them the hairdryer at half time against Leicester because you could tell because they came out in that second half like even though we weren't great still, we were a lot better. Dean Smith is not the type of manager to accept poor performances. Every time it seems that he gets them in that dressing room, he shoves a rocket up there. So I'm hoping that that's why we'll win this game and react because what Leeds did to us last time, he'll have them watching videos of them all week. And hopefully, with 7 days rest as well, we're a bit more energised than the absolute shower of, not saying it on air, but the absolute shower of rubbish that we saw on yesterday. So, yeah, look, hopefully we get the win anyway.
Yeah. Newcastle versus Wolves. Wolves have been,
good.
like we've said, yeah, they've been good. But this season, they've been, here and there with good results, bad results. But I think recently they have been quite good. Newcastle, like I said, they are playing well, but the results aren't coming. So I'll go 2-1 Wolves.
The mad thing about this season is that if Wolves win this game and we lose, Wolves are on the same points as us. And everyone's been banging on about how good we've been this season. So it's such a weird season. Like Wolves haven't been great and they could match our points this weekend. Leeds, if they beat us, are 1 point behind us. I think we've got a game in hand on them. But at the end of the day, like, sides are beginning to pick up points, and Wolves, they've had a surgence recently, two wins and a draw, I think, in their last three. They're coming into this game with good form, and they've sort of found a way to score without Raul Jimenez now. Pedro Neto has been quality for them and stepped up. Neves, Matinho are now popping up the goals. Adama Traore against Leeds getting the goal. I think it actually went to Meslier, but again, he had the shot. So, look, I think Wolves are going to win this game, if I'm being honest, and I think they're going to pile more trouble on Newcastle. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves. I think Pedro Neto again will step up, and I fancy Neves for a penalty. I fancy Neves for a penalty as well. So I'm going to go 2-1 to the Wolves, and I think Wolves will move on to 36 points. Hopefully Villa will have more than that, but yeah, I think Wolves will get the win.
Both agreed on that one then, 2-1 to Wolves. Palace Fulham, like we said, Palace are playing tonight, or they might be playing now actually.
They're playing
Brighton. Now. So Palace Fulham, I think Fulham have to win this game, to be honest, or at least get a point out of it to I guess, to mentally put Palace in a little bit of, they are catching us up here. So
this is massive.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult because Fulham are in some good form as well. 2-0 Fulham.
Do you know what? I was going to go with 2-0 Fulham, but I'm going to change it purely based on what you've said. I'm going to go 1-0 Fulham. Because looking at this Premier League table, Crystal Palace sit on 30 points. And if Fulham win this game, I think that is with the Palace current result in mind, because they're drawing. If Palace lose tonight, I think Fulham are going to beat them, because the form that Fulham are on at the moment, they're playing okay football or decent football. They're now getting the results to go with it. They're off the back of a massive win against Sheffield United, clean sheet as well. I think they've just got too much quality for Palace, if I'm being honest. Honestly, I think they got too much quality for them. Palace without
Eze
Zaha,
not put one out of the bag, do you think? Eze and Zaha?
Nah, Palace. Eze needs Zaha, and Zaha needs Eze. And without one of them, more so Zaha than Eze, without them, they're absolutely clueless. And I think they could get drawn into a relegation fight. And look, Fulham will be 4 points behind them if they beat them. So massive game for Fulham. I'm going to go 1-0 to Fulham, back-to-back 1-0 clean sheets for Fulham.
Next game could potentially be another good game.
3-0 Leicester.
Maybe not then.
3-0 Leicester.
Yeah, look, I think Arsenal, if Arsenal win this game, it'll have to be a hell of a performance. I think if Arsenal draw this game, could be likely. But I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester. And we'll move swiftly on.
Oh, my God. After what we've just said, Crystal Palace have just scored.
Breaking news, Palace are 1-0 up.
Mateta has just netted for Crystal Palace. Oh, my God.
They had him, to be honest. There you go.
Why does this happen to me? Oh, my God.
You should just stop speaking.
I actually should. I'm keeping teams in the Premier League.
Tottenham v Burnley. Sure. I want to say surely this is the game Tottenham would like to use to bounce back, but it's Burnley and anything can happen with Burnley. You just don't know, do you? 1-0 Burnley.
You heard it here first. 1-0 Burnley. They are going to.
I said this earlier on in the season. I said this that Burnley would do someone over, and they did. It was Arsenal. It was Arsenal.
Yeah. Burnley are going to stink out that stadium. Burnley love a game against Tottenham. They love a big game against a big side. They love to just mess them about. I honestly see Burnley winning this game. If I was at the bookies, I'd be putting bets on this game because unless Gareth Bale starts, I don't think Tottenham are winning this. I think Bale is the only thing that can scare Burnley from getting something out of this game because at least with Bale, they know he's got the quality to absolutely destroy them. And I would hope that on the basis of his last two performances, Gareth Bale starts. So I'm going to go with 1-0 Burnley, though, just to be fun. But I wouldn't be surprised if Gareth Bale gets the winner because it's written in the stars if he starts 1-0. But yeah, I'll go 1-0 Burnley.
I think with Tottenham, this could be the sort of game, much when I remember ages ago I spoke about when United played Leeds, and I know that's different because United and Leeds have a rivalry, but this Tottenham game could prove to Tottenham fans how much Tottenham players care about this season and want to win for Mourinho. Because let's put it this way, Burnley are not going to play beautiful football and Tottenham are going to try and out-tactic them and outwit them, are they? It's going to be roll your sleeves up, get muddy, get dirty. Let's have a fight pretty much in this game. So if Tottenham can win this game and put in a strong performance and match Burnley physically, because that's how they're going to play, I think a lot of Tottenham fans will come out and go, yeah, they fought for that win. There's a little bit of fight in our team. Maybe there could be something in that for the rest of the season. It's a long shot, but you never know. The next game, which is probably the biggest of this game week, Chelsea v Man United. Chelsea still got a good record under Tuchel. They're unbeaten. Obviously, just dropped the first points. No, they didn't. They drew with, I think it was Wolves' his first game. But
drew with Wolves. Mm-hmm.
So it's a difficult one for United because we've got Sociedad sandwiched in between this game and the Newcastle game. So I don't know how that's going to play out. We could lose 5-0 and go out. That could be fun, couldn't it? I think you are right in saying it could be another 0-0, and that wouldn't surprise me. But United have to win this game. It is as simple as that. We have not won a game against the top six or the traditional top six this season because Arsenal's not top six anymore. So the only game we won against top six was Liverpool in the FA Cup, which was a good win, but it's not the league, is it? So if United don't win this game, I have serious concerns for pushing City all the way. I've got concerns now, but if we don't win this game, count us out. Count us out because we can't beat the big six. We're inconsistent at the minute. Because if we lose to Chelsea, we would have dropped points to Sheffield United recently, West Brom, Chelsea. Who else have we dropped points recently to? I can't remember.
Sheffield
but
United.
Yeah, said them. Thanks, mate. So yeah, United have to win this game. Chelsea probably do as well to try and get back in that top 4. 2-1 Man United. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-0, like you said.
You've gone for it. I'm going 0-0. This game has got 0-0 written on it so much. I just see this being a game. If it's
back-to-back 0-0s in a season between Chelsea and Man United,
I can hear the Gary Neville podcast right now going, Manchester United, just the same.
I'm absolutely
again,
furious, to be honest with you.
Just too cautious in big games. McFred, I've had enough.
Well, to be honest, we haven't got much of a choice. Well, actually, McTominay's injured, so we're not playing McFred. But he might be back. You never know. But if Van der Beek is back, just start the bloke. Start him with Fred and Bruno, please, I beg.
Scott McTominay, full resurrection. He's come back from a broken leg just to play for the McFred. He's happening. McFred is
in a big game.
I'm telling you.
Fred, on that note, Fred was awful against Newcastle as well, and I thought he was awful against West Brom, so he's not even playing well. So if Van der Beek was fit and he wasn't playing now, I'd generally be like, oh, for God's sake, man. I mean, they're both poor at the minute. So it's kind of glad he is injured because he's glad Van der Beek is injured because I know he'd be stuck to that bench when Fred's playing awfully. So for my sanity,
0-0. I think Chelsea will be happy with a point as well in terms of the top 4. Like, realistically, I think.
I wouldn't be disappointed with a point, but if it's a 0-0 again, it's Chelsea 0-0, Arsenal 0-0, it's Liverpool 0-0, it's just City 0-0. It's just like, come on, man. So, yeah.
Score a goal.
Just score, please, I beg. Anyway. Sheffield United v Liverpool. 1-0 Liverpool. I think they'll scrounge a Salah dive penalty and they'll smash it in.
Do you know what? Just to be controversial.
1-0 Sheffield United.
0-0. I was going to do it. But I just can't see Liverpool scoring. This may be the game that they do. And
that's why I said a penalty, man.
This may get brought back, but I'm telling you now, at the moment, they don't look like scoring. So Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 0. Sheffield United are going to get a point. 4 points from 6 against Liverpool and Man United. Incoming.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Means a lot. Everton v Southampton. I was going to say this is potentially another exciting game, but Southampton's form have sort of let them down. If this was 5 weeks ago, Southampton were mint back then, weren't they? So... Yeah. And Southampton actually played in a few very good games. I think Wolves was one, Liverpool was another. There was some really good games with Southampton in it. Now, though, Everton coming off that huge win against Liverpool. 2-1 Everton. I love 2-1.
I am going to go... Oh, this is a tough one, man, because if Southampton turn up and get that win.
That's the thing. If Southampton turn up, they turn up. But
Everton are poor at home and Southampton are just so inconsistent. This is I wouldn't bet on this in the bookies at all. Do you know what? 1-1. I can't call it because Southampton are just so inconsistent. And if a good Southampton turn up and James Ward-Prowse gets a couple of free kicks on the edge of the box, they are doomed. But Everton obviously just come off the back of a great win against Liverpool. I don't know whether they'll be motivated the same because they were so motivated to go to Anfield and write history and do it for the fans and take advantage of Liverpool. There's no real motivation there with Southampton. Southampton sort of petered out. So I'll probably, I'll go 1-1. Boring, but 1-1.
Right, that is the end of the Premier League. Before we wrap up, one more bit of news. I'm going to have to change the colourway because I can't do this in green and you'll see why now. So, there we go. That's
hey.
Rangers are 3 games off winning the title in Scotland after Celtic lost 1-0 to Ross County, who I think were in the relegation zone but are now not. I can't believe this. It's going to happen. It's actually going to happen. I mean, if we didn't know about 10 games ago, it's actually going to happen. I can't believe this. Rangers are probably going to win the league. And it could be in as little as 3 games. It could be 2 games. It's unbelievable.
Wow, I mean, Steven Gerrard, don't let it slip now, boys. That famous line, I tell you something that is playing in the back of that geezer's mind, because if they don't win the title from this point, it's just the biggest slip up ever, but it's not going to happen. No, right, Rangers, what I like about Gerrard is that he's brought English players over there. Connor Goldson, James Tavernier. I know Defoe's in and around it as well for the experience. Scott Arfield's gone over there as
Joe
well.
Aribo.
Yeah. So Ryan Kent, they've done really, really well with the team this year and the squad building. And look, I mean, I know people refer to it as a Farmers League, but Stevie G deserves his fair lot of credit, because to do that against Celtic, who are no mugs and been so dominant, especially when you consider that Rangers had the administration and had to rebuild from literally the bottom. What a year this is for them, and bragging rights. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be a Celtic fan right now.
No, I think Celtic are in a lot of trouble, but guess what? I don't care. So, hopefully, and then leading on from this, we got the news today that hopefully fans will be allowed back in stadiums. I think 10,000 fans could be allowed back in come sort of near the end of the season. So for Rangers fans, what a moment that could be to, after, like you mentioned, the administration, the relegations, all of that drama, to now finally, when they do, fingers crossed, win the league. So I don't want to say they have done or they will do, because you never know. What a moment that would be to be a Rangers fan and to see, hopefully, your team win the league after all of that negativity and all the downfall that they had.
Yeah, the whole fans in the stadium situation. It'd be an interesting dynamic. I mean, we can't obviously get our.
Why don't you just say "suck on my big fat cock"? What's the difference?
Hopes up yet. It's sort of a mapped out plan of what is proposed to be eligible. At the end of the day, like, fans going back into stadiums is obviously a massive thing, and I think we'll see a lot less anomalies in terms of results. I think we'll start to see sort of home advantage come back into play. And look, at the end of the day, I think it's a massive step forward, because these footballers have been starved of fans for so long now. It's been over a year since fans go back in the ground, and players thrive off the fans. Whether they're against you or for you, they thrive off moments that embrace them with fans. So look, hopefully we can get them back in the ground ASAP, and we can get football back to something of a normality, because it's not the same watching it on the telly all the time and not watching it without fans. And it'll get rid of them bloody crowd noises as well, and fake crowd noises that react 10 seconds after the goal's gone in. So, yeah, if you're a Rangers fan, it would be good, because obviously the trophy unveiling would be there with fans in the ground. Whoever wins the Premier League this year, Man City. I know they've not got many fans out there, but I tell you something, them 10,000 of them, that's just about their fan base. That'll quarter fill the Etihad, which is what they usually have. For a home game. So, the whole fans dynamic. I just want to see fans back in Villa Park now. Villa Park is an absolute fortress when we have the whole stuff. I hope they're on about stadiums being full next year, next season onwards. Stadiums being properly full again, which, if that's the case, my God, if we perform like we did against Leicester and Brighton, gee.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a massive, 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 Jesus Christ. Then plays Ross Barkley. Jesus, I think someone had come on and carry him off the pitch.
No, you make a good point. Couple comments in. Footy Edits 10. Hello, guys. Hi, mate. How you doing? Hope you are safe and well. And then another one from Stephen. Rangers reminds me of the Ali McCoist. Rangers legend he is, and a very funny
Ali
guy.
McCoist.
God blimey. I think it's time to call it day. Yeah, no.
Have you seen I think Ali McCoist was the one that was commentating on the Liverpool game.
Jamie Vardy's playing guitar with a corner flag.
When he was doing the Sky Sports News and watch along. Yeah.
That clip is on the. Do you know what?
I'm actually going to try and find it, and he's like, "Oh no, he's done it again! He's done it again!
I'm gonna have to try and find it.
No, Alisson has done it again! Oh no, it's Alisson and Kabak. It's the new.
I'm being serious.
I have to find it.
Jamie Vardy's just got an open ball. So.
I'm gonna have to find it because that clip is unbelievable. Is unbelievable.
He looked like he wanted to cry. He honestly looked like he wanted to cry. He couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Oh,
because he was like liquid football from Liverpool. Salah to Firmino, Firmino to Salah, fantastic football, what a goal. And then Maddison scores, and then that moment just, oh my God, that was brilliant. For anyone that has seen the clip, just watch it again. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I can't find it, but honestly, I can't believe Jamie Vardy's playing guitar with a corner flag is unreal. It was unbelievable. I was in tears watching it because I think is it Jeff Sterling, and the main presenter? He's lost it as well. What Alisson's done. Oh mate, it's an unreal clip. Make sure you go and watch it. Ali McCoy's just talk. It is unbelievable. It's on Sky Sports News' social page somewhere. Just go and find it. That is all for today's episode. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, share the video out, and follow our Twitter account. It is down scrolling across the bottom now, so go and find it and give us a follow because all the news will be going on there. Before we go, 2 teams are unbeaten in 2021. One of them is Man City, the other is Plymouth Argyle. So thank you all for watching. We are the biggest team, joint biggest team in England. So, yeah, that's what I'd like to end on. Plymouth Argyle are massive. If you don't know, get to know, because we're coming to the championship very soon. All right. So, Morgan, thank you. Why'd you have to... Oh, see, he's left, and he's just left like that. Hey? Anyway, I was going to say thank you to Morgan, but I won't now. All right. So thank you guys for watching. As always, if you stayed to the end, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video. Tell your friends. We're on the road to 50 subs. We're at 37. So get us there ASAP. Thank you all for watching. We will see you very, very soon for another live stream. And hopefully United and Argyle can get results. And I will speak on behalf of Morgan that Villa can get one. So we'll see you in a bit, guys. Peace.